evening, my fellow Tottenham fans, and welcome back to the Irish Hotspur with your boy, Big Dave, as Tottenham are set to commit. Werner on the dance floor, and Spurs are in the mood, as they're set to welcome TIMO Werner, a.k.a. Turbo 2. Before we get into it, though, if it is your first time around here, do what 13,000 other passionate, loyal Spurs fans have done before you and smash that subscribe button. But most importantly, share your thoughts on the deal, on the new signing below, as I share mine with you. Now, let's get straight into it. And it's one that has sort of evolved very quickly throughout the day. It started off with Prattenberg. How dare I? Prattenberg, the right name for him, the guy that was very influential in moving Harry Kane over to Bayern Munich. He sort of linked Spurs to it this morning, with Fabrizio Romano sort of coming out later on this evening saying, Timo Werner to Tottenham, here we go. Deal in place with RB Leipzig. All documents being prepared. Spurs sign Werner on loan and will also include a buy option clause. Timo is due to travel to London on Saturday in time for a medical, and I presume this deal will sort of be announced either sometime tomorrow or Monday, depending on how long it takes them to get all the behind-the-scenes stuff ready, the photos, the intro video, and all that sort of good jazz that we absolutely lap up. Now, I do know that Timo Werner, I think he's rumored to be on 164k a week at RB Leipzig, so we will be picking up that wage. And also, Ali Gold shedding some light on it tonight as well, saying reports from Germany suggest Spurs have agreed an option to buy Werner, which is potentially only as much as £15.5 million. So I guess there's a few big questions surrounding this, which I'm going to get into. Why Timo Werner? Is he good enough to come in here? Is he more clinical than Richarlison, shall I say? Is there any positives to this deal? Is there any negatives to this deal? So just bear with me. I'm not going to be too long this evening. But why Werner? I guess there's a couple of sort of reasons behind this. The fact that things have developed so quickly today, Spurs have gone from being linked to almost completing the deal in one day. I wonder, as last night's lackluster sort of display in front of goal sprung Spurs into action in this one to get it done and completed very, very quickly. Look, last night the forward line was very, very wasteful. Brennan Johnson, very hit and miss, very up and down. Richarlison, although there was not a lot created for him and not a lot of service, the two chances he did have, he wasn't clinical. He didn't take them. And Kulusevski just does not want to be a winger. You can tell that last night. He'd rather play through the middle. It's where we get the best out of him. It's where he's most involved in the game. Also, you also have to remember, Son, we've lost him now to the Asian Cup, where he's out there representing South Korea. And I do hope he goes all the way. You know, I'd love him to see or win some international honours with South Korea, especially with him getting on in age. But we also, selfishly, you know, we miss his leadership, the regular quality that he provides in the final third. You know, regularly sparks us into action as well, drives at players, tries to make something happen, but also has that end product, whether it's putting it on a plate for someone else or taking that himself. Others around him, since he's gone, don't quite have that. And I think one thing we'll all agree, and it has become sort of glaringly obvious since we have let him go, and everyone's sort of, and I think it's everyone's frustration with Richarlison, is we missed the clinical finishing of Harry Kane. Harry Kane made goal scoring look easy. If you provide him one chance, 9 times out of 10, he takes that. You provide him cup and he walks away from that game with a couple of goals, and ultimately Tottenham make the game a lot easier. With Richarlison, although I do think he's doing a fine job at the minute, he's in good form. He does make goal scoring look difficult, and he often needs 3 to 4 chances a game to take one on. And also, I think his scoring rate right now, with the whole time he's been at Spurs, I think it's 1 in 5, and that rate really has to sort of improve. Now, I know a lot of that would be school-whiffed with last season. However, you know, this season, and I've always said this with Richarlison, he will get you goals, but will he get you enough to get you a title, to get you an FA Cup, which is what Spurs fans sort of want now? The opportunity has presented itself. We want to go after it. And Richarlison will need competition in that aspect. And look, it's only good for Richarlison because, you know, it'll either push Richarlison on to that next level, and if Richarlison can't reach that next level, then we do need someone else in here to pick up the slack. Another reason, reports suggest that Ange Postecoglou is sort of pushed for Timo Werner. He views Timo Werner's pace and selfless work ethic as ideal qualities to suit his tactics and his squad. Now, when I seen that, this signing, it's sort of, how would I say it? It reminds me a lot of Dyson Maeda at Celtic. He was a striker, but Ange used him as a lot as sort of an impact sub, whether it was down the middle, whether it was out left, out right, sort of to inject energy into the team, into that front line. But most importantly, to reinvigorate that press, which is absolutely crucial to the way Postecoglou plays. Because the whole idea is to turn the ball higher up the pitch so we don't get countered on. Now, that intensity of the press from the first 10 games to where we're at now, especially the last few games, you can see it's just not there. People are going in drips and drabs. They're not committing to it, and teams are just playing through us. One thing Werner will provide, whether it's off the bench or whether he starts, he will provide that relentless energy, that relentless work rate to that press. And I think that's one of the key factors. We also have to remember, Postecoglou has said many times, it's all about the character of the player. And he's had a conversation with Timo Werner. And he's had a conversation with a lot of signings he made in the summer. And every single one of them have made an impact at Spurs. A great impact at Spurs. And I would hope that he's sort of getting this one right as well. I do think we should trust Ange's judgment on this. But like I said, this signing does remind me of very much like a Dyson Maeda, very impactful off the bench for Ange Postecoglou, and often used them as sort of a secret weapon. Sorry, guys, I just needed a sup of water. But as I was saying, I think Timo Werner will provide what Dyson Maeda sort of provided Ange Postecoglou in that regard. And I do think it sort of helps us on that front. Now, the next sort of point I'm going to get into, does Werner solve a problem at Spurs? So the big question is he more clinical than Richarlison, and does he solve a problem for Spurs? Now, from the player I watched at Chelsea and returned to Leipzig since, I don't think he is. And his stats reflect that. And personally, I don't think this signing resolves an issue on that front. As I've stated many times before, I do wish that Spurs would go after this position with a lot more conviction and bring in someone with a genuine proven quality rather than take a gamble, which I do think this is, given by the way the deal is structured. It's sort of a try before you buy. And I do think it's an absolute huge risk for Spurs, especially since, we want to be challenging on two fronts and we have an ideal opportunity this January, with the Premier League and the FA Cup. Oh, look, I do take the argument because I know many people are going to make it. It's hard for Spurs to find that sort of genuine proven quality this January transfer window. Not many players will want to sell their star striker because it is the difference between a top half finish and a bottom half finish, and it comes at a premium. It comes with a tax. I do take that argument. However, they knew Harry Kane was leaving in the summer and they should have been ahead of it, and they've had plenty of time to plan and sort of negotiate a deal. With Timo Werner, he was absolutely on fire at RB Leipzig before he signed for Chelsea. And I think many were jealous of that signing when he signed for Chelsea. However, at Chelsea, when you look at his overall record, I think it's 22, 23 goals with 22, 23 assists. But, and you would say it's okay. However, let's not forget, the guy has a catalogue of easy misses in the Premier League. And, Chelsea tried shifting him out wide for a while just to see if that would work out. It hasn't. Came back to Leipzig last season. He done okay. But then this season, he finds himself out of the team an awful lot. So I do think it's an absolute gamble for Tottenham Hotspur. But look, what I will say is, Postecoglou did get a tune out Richarlison. Whether that's set to continue or not, he's managed to get a tune out of him. And would he be able to do the same with Timo Werner? Can he get Werner anywhere near to the player he was at Leipzig before that move to Chelsea? Well, look, time remains to be seen. But what I will say is the fact that we're not tied down. This opportunity is all on Timo Werner. There's two things for Werner here at play. A, he wants to get into that Germany squad for Euro 24, which is happening in the summer. So he'll have to come in here and perform. Second of all, it's a try before you buy. So effectively, we're putting the onus on the player. Go out there, display your qualities, and prove to us why we should sign you come the summer. And if he does come good, and he does chip in with goals and assists, Effectively, we're getting him for a relatively low fee, half of what Chelsea paid for him in the first place. However, like I said, it is a huge gamble from the club. They are risking that Ange Postecoglou can work his magic. And to be fair, he's not only has he done it with Richarlison, like I alluded to, all his signings in the summer were absolutely spot on, have made a massive impact. Players that maybe were underperforming under previous managers, he's managed to get to perform under him. So I do think there is a good opportunity that Postecoglou can work something. And if he does, many people would look at it and say, oh, it's an absolute masterstroke. However, with the position we're in, I don't like the fact that we're gambling. I hope I am proven wrong on this, but I do not like the fact that maybe we are taking that gamble. I also think potentially it's kicking the can down the road, up until the summer where maybe more options become available. Let me know in the comments, is it a good strategic move by Tottenham, or is it typical Tottenham sort of cheaping out in the January transfer window? Should Spurs be going after someone that's more proven to come in here and deliver the goals, or do you like the fact that Spurs are maybe taking that gamble? Let me know in the comments below. Last thing I'll add is I do think bringing him in here provides us with a bit of flexibility across that front three, like we had with Richarlison and Son so far this season. Look, Son probably will go all the way with South Korea to the final, so we're going to be missing them up until February. And if last night's game is anything to go off, we need extra options why he has gone out of here. So with TIMO Werner coming in, if we are playing against team at high lines, you have the option either to play him down that middle and use his pace to exploit that high line like we've done earlier on in the season with Son at times, or push Richarlison out to the left-hand side and hopefully provide that spark with Johnson on the right, which frees Kulu up to play down the middle, which is a very, very good option for us. Madison's due back very soon as well. Madison, Kulu, Bentancur, that's some midfield. So I think maybe there is a bit of strategic plan around bringing Werner in here, freeing up Kulu to play more as that middle player rather than having to double up as a winger. Sometimes we're seeing first half playing through the middle, second half playing a winger, or vice versa. That can't continue. We want to settle Kulu into this team and settle him down into a position. So bringing in Werner does allow that to happen, but also allows us at times, if Richarlison is not clinical enough up front, you can move him out to the left, bring on Werner, or take him off and bring on TIMO Werner. So it does give us flexibility, gives Ange a bit more flexibility, although with limited options. But look, overall, it's like I said, I do think it's a gamble. But do I secretly back Ange to be able to get him firing? Do you know what? There is a part of me inside. I do think it could end up being a masterstroke that Ange might get him firing. However, I do think it's a huge gamble. I do hope that despite my frustrations with the deal, I am proven wrong. But like I said, please let me know your comments on TIMO Werner joining Tottenham with an option to buy, which is to believe to be around 15.5 million if he does come good. Look, it's relative low risk as well for Tottenham, right? All we are is carrying his wages, so it does present low risk. But let me know, do you like the fact that Tottenham are taking a gamble? Do you think Ange Postecoglou will be able to get TIMO Werner firing again? And could this be another masterstroke by and lastly, actually, what I will say just quickly, I do think this is pure an Ange Postecoglou sign. I don't think there's any way TIMO Werner would have sort of flagged up on any stat or data-driven transfer sort of analysis that we like to do on players. I don't think that has been applied here. I think this is solely an Ange Postecoglou signing. So let's wait and see what happens. But like I said, let me know your comments on the deal in the thoughts below. Have a good Saturday evening. Also, lastly, I think Raghu Dragusin, I believe, has put all his eggs in Tottenham's basket. He's sort of waiting for Tottenham to agree a fee with Genoa, and he said he will make that move, more or less sort of turn down Napoli. So now it's up to Tottenham. It remains whether Tottenham will go and up their fee, or whether they're going to use the fact that Dragusin has come out and basically his agent has come out and said he wants that move to Tottenham, whether they're just going to sort of put that back at Genoa and say, look, accept what we're offering you because he wants out anyway. Let me see. We might end up strong arming them. Let me know, do you think this deal might happen tomorrow? Could we get two announcements on Monday, Dragusin and TIMO Werner? What a start to the week that would be with Man United coming up. But as always, come on, you Spurs. In the mighty Ange we trust. We never stop.